I remember actually not getting selected for the women's team. My game was probably more so like a scooping game. Like you're seeing those mistakes from them that they don't usually do. Phone calls going back and forth like she can't play. It's literally the week before.
Kia ora team, Tiv here from 7th Touch and you're watching Touch Tapes. It's the series where we roll the tape and we hear the stories directly from the field. Joining us today we've got Niall Williams-Guthrie, Niall Guthrie, sort of all of the above. She's a triple international, finding a lot of success with rugby union with the Blackburn Sevens and the Blues, rugby league with the Gold Coast Titans and Whetu Samoa, and as the former captain of the New Zealand Open women's team. Niall, appreciate you being on.
Had no choice, eh? Nah, it's good to be here. Good to be here.
Point blank, please, I need some viewers. I need some people. And today we're going to roll the tape on the 2015 Touch World Cup. A lot of people that would view this, or I would hope would view this, will remember the 2015 World Cup. It was in Coffs Harbour, New South Wales, down in Australia, and it was like a mud bath. Hey, what do you remember from the tournament?
I remember training hard for two 20-minute halves, like 40-minute games normal, and then turning up and literally just downpours, and it was just so wet that the games got shortened to like 25-minute games. But what I really remember was playing on one of the backfields, and you literally, I got caught a knock on because I went to pick the ball up and scoop once it got planted, but it got like the suction in the mud was so much I like left the ball behind, and the ref caught a knock on, and I'm like, he's trying to complain, but I'm like, oh, so that's how bad it was, yeah.
The ground held the ball.
Yeah.
But it was because I didn't go personally, but I remember looking at like all the photos and all the socials, and like fields were flooded. It was like a complete mud bath, like torrential rain. What kind of change, like obviously you were talking about, you were training for 40-minute games and then it got changed to 25, but what sort of change in terms of like maybe mindset or tactical game plan sort of changes did you guys have to make because of the short turnaround? Was there anything much, or was it sort of business as usual?
I think like one positive was that there was only 25 minutes, so like it wasn't about trying to last the whole game. It was pretty much playing one half of footy, so you can just go on and go all out, and like you would think that it, like because it's raining, that you would want to kind of look after the ball, slow down a bit. But I think for us, our mindset was changed to we want to just keep going hard, but we obviously needed to back ourselves and our skills, that we could compete still at a high rate and hold on to the ball in such conditions, I guess. So we just had to take it with our stride, and for us personally, we thought, hey, if there's one team who's played in the rain before, it's New Zealand. So yeah.
Because you were the captain, is it something that you think about, in terms of history making? Is it something that you think about a lot? Because this game was the first time that Australia had ever been beaten at a World Cup. It wasn't the round robin game, unfortunately, but is that something that like you think about and your sort of piece of history?
I don't think I look at it in terms of like I was the captain of the team that beat them. I think I look at it as I was a part of the team that beat them. I don't really, like I obviously got the C next to my name, but there was lots of leaders in that team, and I'm just real proud to be a part of a team. And like when people do talk about, you've done a lot of things in life, what's some of your cool achievements you've made, that's definitely up there with it, being able to be a part of that team who did not only beat Australia but in Australia. I think is really cool, because I've been a part of another team that beat Australia in Australia too, and
2005?
I think that what's that?
Youth World Cup 2005, is that the one you're alluding to?
Yeah. So
nice.
like that's special, and you can play touch your whole career. Like there'd be men and women who have played for New Zealand their whole life and they've never won a game against Australia. So to be able to say I've done it twice against in big moments is pretty cool.
Your coach was someone you're really close with, Peter Walters. He was kind of thrown in last minute. So like across the span of, even between 2011 and 2015, that's 4 years, there were 4 different head coaches of the women's. I don't know if you're aware of this, but 2011 there was Rooster.
Yeah.
2012, 2013 was Ivan.
Yeah.
2014 was Bernie Morrison. 2015 was Pete, who kind of came late in the piece. you would think that there would be some sort of like disconnect or sort of dysfunction between the team. But man, to put out a performance like you guys do in this game, I suppose, what do you put that down to? Do you put that down to a coaching thing, a playing group thing, combination of both?
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, the girls had, like most of them, had come and been around touch their whole life. And you go over that 4-year period, like the goal always remains the same. And it's just how you get there and the processes you go through. And yeah, it can be all different teams. But I think if you look at like those great men, Rooster, Ivan, and Pete, they're just one of us, and they want to win too. So it was easy to kind of connect. Like we all had the same goal. It was just, you just had to adapt to how they wanted to get to that goal. I think so. It wasn't too much like, oh my gosh, what are we doing now? I think if you look at some of the players in our teams, like you got Jean Waka and Megan Campbell, like these girls are leaders who have been around for a long time, and we were on the same page. So it wasn't really hard to get the girls all on board and go in that same direction. Yeah.
If you look at both New Zealand and Australia, not just in the women's, but even in the mixed grades as well, this must have been like an NRLW scout's dream, like on your side of, in your team, you've got yourself, you've got Bovitte Welsh, you've got Taisha Canasio, you've got signed by the Warriors. Opposite side of the ball, you've got the likes of Ash Quinlan. In the mix, there was like Yasmin Clydesdale, like there were heaps of gun touch players that kind of made the transition to the contact side of things, but you weren't playing league at this point.
No,
you were part of the Sevens system, like you were sort of just getting into it?
I just got into it, like literally the year before World Cup.
Which is crazy because you also had your second daughter, Ray Ray, at the beginning of 2014. Yeah. So man, what a crazy span of sort of 12 to 18 months. What do you remember from that sort of time period in your life?
I remember... Well, I had my first daughter, Tatum Lee, in 2012, and then I had kind of come back and started playing touch again. And then I fell pregnant with Ray Ray, which was a surprise. But I remember also at that time, I actually didn't know. So at Tatum's first birthday, I was pregnant with Ray Ray, but I didn't know. Oh, okay. And a week after Tatum's birthday, I had shoulder surgery because I had pretty bad shoulders. Like, so in the 2011 World Cup, I don't know if you remember, but I actually popped my shoulder out scoring a try. And
was that the one where you were like telling Ellie, your physio, to just pop it back in?
Yeah, because they were like, oh, we're going to get off. And I was like, just put the fucking thing back in, man. Like, bro, it's a World Cup final. Yeah. I've trained 4 years for this moment. I'm not going off. Yeah. So she popped it back in and I played. But obviously since then I hadn't had any surgeries. I didn't get any surgery, and then I finally was like, I need to fix my shoulder. It's pretty bad. It keeps popping out. And but I didn't know at the time. So I had Tatum's birthday. A week later I was booked in for shoulder surgery. And I remember going in for surgery, and they do the checklist, and then they're like, oh, is there any chance you can be pregnant? I was like, no. And then anyway, so get the surgery done, and then it's like 3 months after, and I'm like, man, because I know I can't train because of my thing, but I've put on a bit of weight, and and I said to the physio, I remember saying I feel like my body's getting looser, not stronger, like my shoulder, which is obviously the opposite of what it's supposed to feel like. But for anyone who doesn't know, when you get pregnant, your joints get really loose, they lax out and stuff. So it wasn't until I think it was around 15, 16 weeks that it was this guy's sister who actually said, I reckon you're pregnant, and so I went and had I got a test, and I was pregnant with Ray Ray. So in that area I was like, holy heck. So I had Ray Ray, but I'd was really wanted to, Pete had just started talking about, oh, the Olympics are coming around and da-da-da, and I was like, nah, I won't be able to. And he kind of, not forced me, but he was made all the right choices and decisions in his life that helped me to go down that path. And so I ended up playing nationals and things like that. And I just remember getting picked up and getting put on a training contract with the New Zealand Sevens. And that was the year before this tournament was to happen.
To go from having Ray Ray, we're talking, so this was in May, so that would be sort of 15 months.
Yeah.
To go from just having your second daughter to the shape you're in here, man, you're in good nick here. I'm sort of pumping your tires a bit, but yeah, you're in really good shape.
Well, the funny thing was, I actually played at the touch nationals straight after having Ray Ray. So
Yes. Auckland, eh? So
yeah,
you
I played for
Waikato
Auckland.
the year before.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we won. And then
Slide that in there.
and then the next year, obviously Auckland Women's had a team, and I was like pumped as. And so I just had Ray Ray end of Jan, and then nationals was beginning of March, knowing that the World Cup was the next year, and that was kind of my goal. And so I played at that nationals, and I remember actually not getting selected for the women's team. I actually didn't get selected after nationals.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I got told you're not in good enough shape, like you're not going to be good enough to play at this World Cup.
2 months after.
2 months, yeah. So I was like, I was actually
something not quite adding
yeah.
up here, yeah.
And like, obviously the coach at that time, like I just don't think he knew my mindset and the drive I had to be the best I could be at this World Cup, you know. And I like one thing I do, like one of my values is work ethic, and I knew like if I set a goal, I'm gonna achieve it. And so yeah, I knew at that time I was definitely not where I knew I could be, but I was like, that's just a stepping stone to get to. I had to be there to kind of see where I'm at, and I knew the things I needed to do. And it was just so happened that I even was very blessed to get picked up by the New Zealand Sevens. So in that time frame leading up to it, I was training like full time. I wasn't getting trained. I wasn't getting paid full time. I was only on that training contract. But my family, your family, helped me to be able to train like I was a full-time athlete. And that's probably, you know, what you see on the field there is being in a full-time training environment with the New Zealand Sevens. So, like, if you actually look at me compared to some of the girls, I've probably, like, surpassed that. Like, I'm just going into probably more of a sevens build rather than a touch build, like a little bit more muscle on me. And one thing I do actually remember that helped hard out was doing weights, because it was the first time I ever done weights. And I felt like I was just so much more stronger in the ruck, and I could pass the ball further, you know, just all those little 1%ers that if I didn't have that little bit of extra weight and muscle on me, I probably wouldn't have been able to execute well.
So you mentioned you were on a training contract with the New Zealand Sevens. Did that clash at all with your prep for World Cup?
Yeah, there was a little bit of dramas, not gonna lie. So what happened was basically, and you know, like I can see it from both point of views. Like obviously at that time, New Zealand Sevens, like had invested some money, and by money I mean like not much compared to a full-time contract. It was piss all really. But to me, the thing that they had invested was their time of the S&Cs and me going in and training with them. That's probably the more valuable thing. Like the money, like it was under 10K. But they had invested that time in me training and stuff. So from their point of view, they were like, well, we don't want you to go play in this touch tournament in case you injure your shoulder.
And protect their investment.
I ended up going to like a judiciary and everything. Like it got real serious. But I think like I sat down, and it was real hard. Like it was literally the week before the World Cup. There was still like phone calls going back and forth, like she can't play or you shouldn't play. And I actually had to go to I got 3 different opinions from three different sports doctors. I think one at the time was the Chiefs one. I did it through my brother, then the Touch New Zealand one, and then just a general sports doctor.
And is this because of your shoulder?
Yeah, and so I had to do all these tests and stuff like that. And they all said like, yeah, you can play, like your shoulder's fine, you know. So I went back with that information. So I didn't want to just turn around to them and be like an ungrateful brat and be like, I'm playing. But I went back with, you know, some like, hey, this is medical doctors have cleared me. But I think the turning point was I said to them, like, I've trained for this for 4 years, you know, touch has been my life. And this is going to be my last kind of campaign before I do fully commit to you guys. Like, I need you to get on board. And then I literally said, like, and if not, then that might just be the end of sevens for me. But I can't let down the team. That's not who I am as a leader. That's probably the first time where I was like, I'm the captain of this team. Wow. There's no way I'm leaving my team in the lurch 7 days out from a World Cup. You know, it doesn't just affect me; it affects all of them in some capacity. And so I ended up just, you know, it kind of got left unsaid, but I just went to the World Cup. And then I obviously that next year I got contracted fully for the Sevens, so it was pretty cool. Yeah.
Beautiful. All right, ready?
Yep.
Sweet.
Let's go.
Let's roll the tape. So we kind of start like, for viewers that are watching at home, like you got to ignore the scoreline at the bottom. I think that's from the game that was previous. 7-5-0 time left on the clock. It'll soon reset. There you go, 24 minutes, and then it'll go sort of 0-0. And then we'll go from there. Yeah. Were there any players playing for Australia that like either you hated playing or you admired, or sort of on that level?
Yeah, the Winchester sisters, they were massive. There's Louise there.
Yep.
Her
But Claire didn't play this
no,
one.
but
Claire Tander deserving that.
but she's those sisters were mean for Australia their whole time, their whole career. They're like who I always remember. And Emily Hennessy in the middle, she was a little gun player. And then Laura Petey, she was, I think maybe she's like new on the scene here.
Yeah, she would be. She played youth Trans-Tasman earlier this year, I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah.
So like in January, and then this was in May, so she would have been
and
really
she's
young.
gun too. So those are probably the ones that stick out most to me. And then obviously who wasn't playing was Ash Quinlan. And Ash Quinlan was like, it's kind of like drummy for the men's, you know, like the Kiwi who's carving up. Like she was a Kiwi,
playing against because they should be.
Yeah. She would have looked great in a New Zealand singlet, but it didn't work out that way. I think there was a stage where she might have was going to play, but she obviously didn't. But credit to she was awesome player too. Yeah.
I just paused it because I want to go back and have a look at this try, because one of your good friends is on the receiving end. One we talked about earlier, but Tosh.
Cupcake.
Yeah, out on the wing here. This is like, Jean was an experienced campaigner, so just had the patience to glide through. But then this finish, man.
What a finish.
And you can see the Aussies all sort of blowing up because they're trying to say,
if I could put Aussies in a picture frame right now, it's 5 of them in the screen talking to the refs.
I think that's probably a fair call to, like, if you're making the decision sort of, like in the instant, we could probably slow it down frame by frame, but there was like an instant where it kind of looks like she has control before it goes to ground.
That one thing Aussies always do well is they'll compete in the ref's ear until the try is given, but they'll make the ref make the decision, like they'll never shy away from calling a touch. They'll call the touch and the ref, you got to make it whether it was before or after. Sometimes New Zealand, I think we need to get a little bit of that kind of attitude in our game. Like, who cares, man? Like, make the refs work for their level 4 badge or whatever they got.
That's what they get paid not even paid the big bucks to do, but it's sort of what they invest their time in, is to be in the position to make those calls and get them right when it comes down to the crunch. So then we talked about the Aussies. What about in your team? Was there anyone you would have been playing with some of these girls for the first time, like maybe even majority, but because there was no like, Keisha and Cornell Grant, there was no Christina Sue, there was no Miriam Nock, there was no Morgan Morrow.
The Waikato girls and that.
Beans is another one. Who did you enjoy playing with in this crew?
Nola, Megan. Like, Nola was a workhorse, man, and see how she's like so agile. Yeah, man, she used to be able to get under the ruck really well, which obviously for myself, my game was probably more so like a scooping game. Didn't really have, my poor knees, couldn't really step much, but so for someone who likes to scoop in there, if you can get a player, can get under a player, it just helps you out so much. Megan was always calm on the field, and she, honest to God, she talked so much on the field, Megan, like you could hear her the whole game, and which is awesome,
That's all you want, especially on defense. That's all you want, is to have that and to have that like assurance, and the mouth does so much for that.
And like I think another player who's like just been so good for so long is Jean. Like, is she still playing now? She's gone into coaching now.
Well, she's sort of been doing both for the last couple of years.
Yeah.
I think she kind of especially with the New Zealand team, there's like an example of the strength in the ruck there. But like with the New Zealand team, she went from playing to kind of like, okay, well, I'm going to help out on the coaching side of things, and she was like the assistant coach. And then I remember for one of their campaigns, they had people drop out, and then they had no one else to turn to, and so she suited up from the assistant coaching position to
she's just smart. And you know what I like about Jean too? She's got that little bit of like grubbiness about her, and she won't mind me saying this. She knows how to get under people's skin. She knows how to like do a little knock the ball out of your hand when you put the knee in, like, and I love that. Like, I'm all for like gamesmanship,
Yeah. Well, that's a nice
if you can get away with it.
One we were just talking about, yeah. She did the little tip on.
She carved in this game, Jean. She was awesome.
Oh, that's two, that she set up, the
Yeah.
first two. And after 5 minutes as well. Like, this is pretty much uncharted territory for any New Zealand team to be up two after 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's, usually, and I say it with all due respect, but you're chasing games.
Yeah.
So to be up 2-0 and to be like in a position where you can go, hey, just relax, we're in charge here is pretty cool.
That's a good connection. That was a good chase there for, I think there might have been Alicia.
Yeah, that's Alicia in the middle.
Because Tina was beaten on the peel and she came all the way underneath. Going back to Nola, I might be wrong about this. I'd need to fact check it, but I'm pretty sure she was part of the Women's Open in the 2003 World Cup. Did you know that?
Actually, I think they said it at one of the nights, like how you do your team connection nights?
Yeah.
And they had said it, but I can't remember.
I feel like I've seen a team photo and she's in there.
That's so mean, eh?
So that's like going from one in 2003, missing two, and then playing as a
Well,
vet.
because she would have had like, maybe, how many kids has she got? Yeah, she would have had a few, because she's got like 5 kids now, I think, or 4 or 5 kids, and she's married, so maybe that was her breakaway, was having all her kids and coming back.
Man, that's a testament.
Yeah.
To go away, and I suppose similar to yourself, going away and starting a family, something that us blokes don't have to think about. We got the easy job. There she is coming again, setting the platform. You were talking about your shoulder. It's obviously the reason why you cut the ball just then. But you're talking about your shoulder, like it is strapped. Hey, were you ever nervous about it popping out? Because you mentioned it did happen 4 years earlier.
It's so funny because like the only time I was nervous was when everyone was talking about it, like them making a big deal. And I remember I even said to them, like, to New Zealand Rugby, to try and make it sound better. I was like, don't worry, I won't dive. Like, try to say that
at a
World Cup. And then they were like, oh, you can't. And then, no shit, after day one, the first photo that came out was me, like, scoring this try diving, like, and it was so funny. And I remember some of the Sevens girls sent it because obviously, I was good mates with them, and they were like, oh, no diving, eh? It's like, hey man, that was the 14th try.
It's not even like it's in the finals on day one.
It was just like one of those round robin games, though. Just trying to get your name on the stats. Yeah. Could have just put it down.
I think one thing that I've noticed about your team is like you guys are pretty fit. Like at this stage you're kind of footing it with them, and you're like forcing Australia into a couple of mistakes, which they're not really prone to do. But then even like the wave defense and doing all of that, and then they try to fish for penalties like this. That's kind of like what we're talking about with Gene, is kind of like just rubbing people the wrong way.
I think I think like in the past, probably the only team I've ever trained with was when I lived down, that was as fit as this team was when I lived down in Christchurch. And I was going to play with the Canterbury Women's that year, but then the earthquakes happened.
Yeah.
Man, that training that they used to do was crazy. Like we used to do like 1Ks around Rugby Park, and like I remember being so fit, and it made me like understand, because when you used to play Canterbury at nationals, they would just run everybody off the park. They didn't actually have to be that great at touch because everyone was just from playing them.
They kind of had a similar style to Australia, right?
Yeah, and so that's why I think too, like we knew coming into this, like if we were going to be serious about trying to win, we had to be fit. And so I remember we had to get like a certain amount on the beep test and all that kind of stuff. Like we actually did heaps of fitness testing, and everyone was ticked the boxes in that in this campaign. Probably
so earthquakes, that was 2011. They would have been coming off the back, I don't know if you know again, but like they would have been coming off the back of I think 6 national titles in a row.
No, I was trying to get in there for one of those.
Yeah.
Then it didn't happen, but just even playing with those girls, crazy.
There we go, Nizzle off the ground. Stay holes, Rebecca. I think the other thing too is like how smart and patient you guys were. Like you look at a lot of these turnovers. What's your call as a ref? Giving
Let's play on. What the hell?
But like, you look at sort of your sets, you're finishing maybe sort of 7 to 10 meters out. You're finishing at the right end of the park.
Yeah.
You're finishing box side when you can. Then you're backing that up with some strong D. And then when they turn the ball over, you guys are real patient. You're not in any rush. There's no urgency because you don't need it when you're up 2-0. Like there's kind of that, see like that there. There's kind of like that air of just calmness, confidence.
Yeah. I think so. And you could, even on the field, like we could feel it with each other.
Yeah.
Just the comms that were happening in the box was not like yelling at each other. It was just talking. And I think that's like you said, that's even new territory. Usually it's like, we need to do this and we need to do, oh my God. And then, but it was just like, yeah, carry on what we're doing, keep driving down the field, keep our wave D going. If the wave D isn't on, then it's not on, we just connect. But one thing too that I love, if you're watching some of these passages, is like we might get beaten on a wave D, but the person's already under covering, we've got each other's back.
Connection,
Yeah, which is cool. Even that, like to me, people, like, as a touchy, but some, like even when I got to league and sevens, like the art of showing and staying your hold, the art of trusting and chasing out, all those kind of little things, like that's hard to do, and you have to have real trust to be able to see an Aussie player running full pace and your player's out here, and then if they're saying leave to trust them and go, and I feel like we did that well. Like if you just see that passage, that was, 9 times out of 10, that usually would be a try, yeah. And then her getting out, Tash getting all the way out to make that touch. So now we're still at 2-0 rather than it being 2-1, which, when it goes to 2-1, it's a complete different game.
You don't have that comfort of the 2-try buffer good yards.
Yeah.
You're sort of always peeking over your shoulder, when you're only holding that 1-try lead.
Yeah. She wasn't even on. No.
You're allowed to say that, if you see something. Because that's the other thing that I noticed.
Oh, that's right. It's 5 meters back in.
Yeah. That's the other thing I've noticed, like watching, the first, 12 and a half minutes, or we're about halfway through, is that Aussie seem to be like fishing for penalties to try and wrestle back that momentum. Like it's hard. Like the game's in a bit of a grind now, but because you guys are up 2-0, you're like a step above, and they're fighting from underneath. And so because of that, they're trying to get those cheap penalties and really fish for them.
Well, I feel like the gamesmanship they have is like, if you watch when they're doing yards, all of a sudden, like sometimes like they're getting pushed over in the ruck, but then when they drive on the fifth, it's so strong and like perfect. I'm like, well, where did that
Where was that 3 touches ago?
And because usually when you're set for a wave D, that first touch is going to come in hard.
Yeah. Ooh. 50-50 there, I reckon.
But even for us to like it be fifth and still just try run something instead of just getting touched.
You kind of like be a little bit passive with that.
Yeah. That's one thing that I know, like Aussie they don't stop until the whistle's blown.
And it doesn't matter what sport either.
Yeah.
Do you remember there being a big crowd? It sounds like there is. And obviously there's not going to be a big crowd on the other side.
On this side, it was massive. I remember doing the national anthems and even in this game there was a big crowd.
Yeah.
Obviously when, the open teams play each other, there's always a big crowd. But I remember even in the final when we played them, it was like jam-packed.
Yeah.
And even all the other sides were jam-packed too. But, yeah.
How do you rate Coffs as a venue? Because they play NCLs here every year.
Well, I just came from there for the NYC. My daughter played for Sharks.
A couple of weeks ago.
And it was hot, and it was such a cool venue because there's so many fields and so much space around all the fields. You're never like on top of each other, like you're never fighting for a spot, and it's a cool atmosphere. And they have, I think they just make it work.
Yeah.
This in particular tournament though was just shit because of the weather. But I think if it had been sunny, we probably would have got even more people there. And also Coffs like in the middle of nowhere too.
But I think the reason, or one of the main reasons they have it in Coffs is because it's so evenly split between where like Brisbane is and where Sydney is.
Yeah.
So it's like that sort of middle point.
Yeah.
That's why a lot of the tournaments they have are at Coffs or at Port Macquarie, because they're sort of like higher
that
up.
makes sense. So why did we drive to Rockhampton?
15-hour drive.
I reckon too, like if you notice in this game, like the weather's playing, like this would have been Aussie's first hard game at the tournament in this kind of weather. You know, getting a little bit of shoves in the ruck, and being under pressure when they have to throw a pass, and so like you're seeing those mistakes from them that they don't usually do. You know what I mean? Like you don't usually see them dropping the ball and all that kind of stuff. So that's something that we, as a team, focused on. Like we can put them under more pressure, and make them have to play in this wet weather. Like, yeah.
And you can grow in confidence from that too. You know, like because you know we talk pretty much the whole time about how this is like uncharted territory for a New Zealand team, let alone the New Zealand women who, with all due respect, don't have the best record against Australia, but like, you know, being in that position can make you feel like somewhat confident for maybe the first time in who knows how long.
10 years.
Oh, that was sloppy. 50-50 going New Zealand's way there, I reckon. I think this is what you're talking about when you're talking about your passes, Nizzle. You watch this one? Oh.
Yeah.
Want to rewind that? Yeah, let's rewind that. Come on then, let's rewind that. Because coming from, you know, the training with the sevens, obviously you're talking about the strength and conditioning, but like the skills and the art of passing, is that something that you guys would have covered sort of around that time?
Yeah, you do heaps of passing. Like sevens, it's like your bread and butter. You have to know how to pass in sevens because see that pass there, that looks massive in touch, but in sevens, that's a normal pass because there's only 7 on you on a proper actual rugby field, you know. And some of them it's like 100 meters by some of them are like 75, some of the widths like the bigger fields. So you have to be able to pass, you know, like 30-40 meter passes.
With the chest.
But also a touch ball smaller too. So when I came back, it was like, yo,
light, you know, smaller in the hands, so it would have flown.
I reckon, like, for touch, you want to get them into, like, I don't know what their teams are doing now, but surely like a gym program.
Oh,
nice.
good shot.
Is that bow?
Yeah.
Nice.
Kind of goes back to that connection. Do you remember running ID much? The Mad Dog defense where you get the high, middle, high link?
I think they, was that Pete was trying to teach us that maybe? Can't remember. Gosh, so long ago. What are we doing? Are we doing it?
You can tell by where Tara Mohi is there. She's starting from a couple of steps back from the line. Yeah, we must have then.
But this is before you had to all like, it wasn't as handy from having to roll forward, you know, like today it's like they're on you. Whereas here I feel like you can kind of see, like if you look at Tara, she's going sidewards and she's only like 1 meter off unless she goes out and gets them.
Yeah. Oh, that's a nice ball. There's our mate Laura.
Yeah, young gun. Just waited, eh? Like they just, you know, like how long it took them though to crack us, but eventually, sometimes, you know, that's when the fatigue starts setting in.
Yeah.
And that's when you start to like second guess, oh wait, do they have them? Or sometimes it's like the easier thing to do is just to shut and try and force like a mistake. Well, it's easier for you as the defender instead of chasing out.
Yeah.
But this is uncharted territory because usually New Zealand would be tired doing fatigue and making those decisions earlier on in the game.
Yeah.
To get all the way here is
those
awesome.
Like, those lazy decisions you kind of talking about. Yeah, good finish.
Cupcake in again, nice touch.
Is that 3 or is that 2 for her?
3. She got the one down there, then the one tip on from Jean, and then the one on the other side. She's a little athlete, Miss Taisha Kanasio.
And then even then, like, Aussie scored, and even then just having, like, I don't know whether it was, like, composure or whether it's help from knowing what the score is and knowing that you're 3 ahead, but being able to hit back and kind of negate that Aussie try and then regain that 3-try lead.
Yeah, well, even when I think it was Leash Dougal came on, you know, like straight away got in behind, you know, just got that little bit of a roll on. And then Dana in behind, seeing what they did on that defense, set, and then she picks it up and picks the right option because they do the exact same thing, and then she runs through in that gap. I reckon she probably, because she's fast, she could have just gone through, but mad left to right, Tysh scores. Nice boy, make that for me.
I notice you don't really make many struck touches on the 7.
One thing, if you knew me when I played touch, was the one thing that the ref was always saying was 13 offside.
You're still on the line.
I'm going to get all the advantage I can get. Oh, shot. Oh,
Good shot.
good work. In the passing lane. That's what I need.
Safe to say defense wasn't your strong
Yeah,
point.
ask all the refs.
4.5 to go. Do you remember being at this point of the game? Are you one that likes to know how much time is left, or are you one that's like, don't tell me the time until the hooter goes?
No, I want to know the time.
Do you
And I think there's a board. You could see it,
like
maybe.
scoreboard,
Yeah.
that would have had the score and the time on there. So then, do you ever remember being in? I just think there was a try there. That was Laura again.
Yeah. Just didn't get up off that line, eh? Just too passive. Like every other time we've kept him out, what you watch, we've been great, like getting up, being aggressive.
That one was a bit lateral.
Yeah, we just
surprising because they had them all the way up there, but then just caught rolling, caught on the back foot. But then that gets it to 4-2, still 4 minutes left. So do you ever remember being at this point of the game? I know it's a long time ago, but do you kind of remember the mindset at this point of the game? Like, are you still feeling confident? Are you kind of feeling like a bit nervous? Do you ever think that the game's in the... Obviously, probably don't, but...
I think this whole game, from what I remember, was the energy was always positive. Like, I never felt pressured. Even when they scored, like for me, like I've never been up heaps by Aussie, so for me, even being up by 1 or 2, I'm like, this is mean, you know. Whereas like Aussie probably can get to those scores where they're like 4 ahead, and that's probably when they go, oh, this is all good, you know. Whereas to me, I'm like 1 up, mean. So no, I especially with Mains, who helped out coaching, and Pete, their chat, like I don't think I've ever seen Pete be flustered or angry or anything in a box, and I played alongside him like 15, 20 years. Like I've never seen him be flustered in that. So when you're in an environment on the sideline that's calm and collected, there's only one way you can that transfers out onto the field, I think.
Absolutely, I reckon.
Thank you.
Oh, she doesn't look happy too. She's such a competitor.
Yeah.
Louise Winchester.
She's definitely to the death. Those kind of players, you just got to go toe-to-toe with them, you know?
Yeah.
Like, you just got to just be just as competitive. See, even like this kind of stuff, like they're trying to do the no touch in the yards now, like, and then you're getting in behind.
That's kind of like what I was talking about, like they're trying to fish for those, you know, because they know they're playing from behind. And especially with the shorter game. Oh, good try, Mizzle. Hello, rock, though. But yeah, you know, like trying to just get those sort of easy, cheap penalties that, you know, maybe sway the ref and sort of wrestle back some of that momentum. But obviously in this game it wasn't really doing for them. Going back to Louise Winchester, there was that moment in the final, where she's diving across the line and you're coming across to make the cover touch. That's kind of like what you're talking about.
Yeah.
You've got to just... She's going, no, you missed. And you're like, bro, I got you.
And then I took a leaf out of her book and I went and talked to the ref after that. And I was like, I got her, ref. I got her.
Cool wing your way too. Yeah, look at that. 4-2. Game's in the bag, man. 90 seconds left. Did this do much for you in terms of some form of retribution? Because, you know, 4 years earlier you lose by 2 in the final. You go down at the... Good drive again. Go down in the...
See, if she had caught that on the full...
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, sorry, clean. That would have been bore down.
Yeah.
That's that kind of stuff, sorry,
Yeah, all good.
that I was talking about, like... she showed until there was no show left, you know, like until that hole closed and then that gap was open on the, like I just feel like that's the stuff that the girls from Australia brought into this team, you know, and that drive going in was just, there was no let off.
Yeah.
She drove fast and she scooped fast and she ran hard and, you know, like just all that kind of, that's what the Aussies do. They just run and
It's
run
at
and run.
100% all the time. Eh? There's no like sort of light let up or anything.
You
like
don't
that.
have time to think of how to defend. You just defend, and you got to hope that your habits just come in like, and it's the right decisions.
Yeah.
I think that's what always kind of let New Zealand down because we might be good on the 5, but when you're standing there, they're all set still. Like you got to beat them from a standing start, whereas that's what these girls brought in, and I really enjoyed playing off that.
It's easier to beat a defense going backwards
Yeah.
than it is beating them sort of, like you said, set on the line.
That's why they've done it for so long.
And there it is. Like going back to what I was about to say was like, did this feel like some form of retribution from the World Cup 4 years earlier? You played in the Super Trans Tasman as well. You know, like you personally hadn't beaten Australia in an open women's singlet, eh?
No.
So did that feel like a little bit of a get back for you?
Yeah, it was definitely like it helped to close that chapter of touch. I think when I won that game, it was almost like the universe telling me like it's okay, like you can move on, you can move on to the next part of your life. Because I obviously, and I still do advocate for touch as a massive part of my life, and it probably still holds the biggest part of my heart, no matter all the sports I've played. And I really grew as a person and found true lifelong friends. And I just think like, yeah, so being able to win that game was it's like a well done now, like you can move on now, like thank you for your services, you know, kind of thing. And it's all, not saying that it's all being for nothing, because I'm a very like remember your moments and enjoy all of them, but almost like here you go, here's like, you know, your little bit of a treat.
Here's your past to go move on.
So that I think to me that was like what I felt in that moment, even though we lost the final, like it would have been, to me it sounds weird, but winning the final would have been the bonus.
Yeah, okay.
I felt like I had already won after this. Like I felt like far out, like I've beat Australia Women's and I'd done it with these cool girls. It was a cool moment for myself, and I remember reflecting with Pete after, and like we had a little moment, and it was like he was like, because that guy's, you know, just played in every single World Cup and won so many, that it was like I think
he got this nice little win.
Yeah,
take this.
He was like, good work. So he kind of like acknowledged that moment too, because he had obviously picked me up as like a 12-year-old, 12 young girl, and that was the first time he saw me beat Australia, and obviously for him, I'm like a second daughter, and to lead, like you see, captain the side too, and him be coach, it was like a dream kind of moment for us.
Eh?
Yeah, it was cool. Yeah.
What a beautiful way to finish. I reckon we finish with that, because that's it's kind of poetic in a way, bro. Awesome stuff. What a game. Go, you say it.
What?
Touch.
Oh, touch.
No.
Oh, what?
And appreciate your time as well.
No, all good, bro.